Welcome everyone to the first pit stop YouTube video. My name is Mike. Quite an exciting little thing for me. It's a nice opportunity to speak about something that I really enjoy, and I think a lot of my friends are excited now that I can get to speak to the internet instead of bore them with everything that interests me. The goal for this was to do a live stream, but unfortunately, as I think you'll learn as time goes on with me doing these YouTube videos, that I'm a bit of a techno twit, so I didn't know that you have to give YouTube 24 hours before you can do your first live stream. So I should have done that a little while ago. This video was supposed to go out a while ago, but it's all learning progress. So yeah, I guess we're slowly figuring it out. So I'm going to treat it as if it's a live stream. Unfortunately, there's no one here to ask me any questions, but for the first video, I didn't expect there to be a lot of people asking me questions anyway. So I'll just talk to myself a little bit and see where it goes. So yeah, welcome to the YouTube channel. Some exciting things that I'm planning. Obviously, this is all things F1, so it's a very exciting time of the year now. We're coming into preseason testing. Obviously, all of the car launches, the O2 Arena, the big F1 75. I think a lot of people are excited for, a lot of people aren't so excited for. Personally, I think it will be interesting, but we obviously got to see which one of the teams decide to actually reveal their car then, or do their own little publicity video on the side. So yeah, definitely exciting times, and it's a good time to get into it. So we'll do a lot of reviews on the liveries that are coming up now. Hopefully you can do some watch alongs maybe for the F175. I don't know how that's going to work yet, but that will be the goal. Maybe some pre-race reviews, post-race reviews, and just a bit of fun. I want to do quite a bit as we go and give some representation to South Africa, in the world of Formula One. So we'll learn together, we'll figure it out together. Video quality will improve as time goes, get nice background, maybe some music in the background, but yeah, just excited for the journey. So the goal for today's video, the starting video for the channel, is going to be pre-race predictions for 2025. Obviously, everyone is saying this should be one of, if not the most exciting seasons of Formula One ever. So personally, I'm frothing at the mouth for the season to start. And everyone does their prediction videos, so I think that this is a good place to start. Let's start pissing people off from the beginning already. I think that's the goal. And just see who everyone supports, how mad people are at my predictions. I think it will be a surprise for everyone when I put Logan Sargent in number 1. Okay, don't click off the video. That was a joke. I know he's not racing this season. But anyway. So before I get there, I just want to kind of give a rough rating to the driver lineups that we've got. We've got some interesting lineups this year, definitely. So what I did when I decided what I thought was the best lineups is I took each individual driver. I gave them a rating out of 10. And then I added them up for the team and made that as a total so that I could go from there. With the rookies, it's a little bit different. There are some rookies that aren't really rookies. So, for example, Liam Lawson, he's already had a good couple of races now. I think he done about 12 races now, 11 or 12 races. Then you got Oliver Behrman, the super sub, and then Jack Doohan, who got his little outing in Abu Dhabi. So I've got a little other screen over here, so I'm going to have to just check my facts as I go every now and again. Let's start this off on the right foot. So let's do this like everyone else does. Let's start from the bottom and I'll work our way up. So in 10th place, last in my teammate rankings, I've got Aston Martin. So I'm going to run through these quickly, then we'll get to the exciting bits afterwards. So Aston Martin, unfortunately, are just brought down by Lance Stroll. Alonso is still great. He's going to be great, and he's racing into his 80s. But unfortunately, Lance Stroll is just, I won't give too much of my opinions right now. But moving over next, I've got VCarb. That's a tricky one. I think Tsunoda has done really well. Tsunoda definitely deserved the Red Bull seat. I know there are reasons why he didn't get it, and you don't always get what you deserve in the sport. It's a cruel sport, but he did deserve it. But Hadjar is new to Formula One. He could be really good, but I'm not gonna decide too much until I actually see him in a Formula One car. Then I put down Alpine, obviously P8. They've got Doohan, some more interesting information that will come out with that later. Then I put Stake. I put Stake up a little bit higher than what you guys would think, but that's just because I think Hulkenberg is really good, and maybe I'm showing a bit of bias, but I really like Bortoleto. Then Mercedes, obviously we know what Russell is capable of, but Kimi Antonelli is a big question mark. He's young, he got pushed in really quickly, so not quite sure how that's going to go. Then quite high up, I put Haas. So I know there's a lot of Ocon haters on the internet, but he's a good midfield driver. Oliver Behrman showed a lot of strength when he was super subbing. So yeah, that falls out there number 5. And then Williams, Carlos Sainz, really excited to see him at a Williams. It's sad that he's not in the Ferrari, but makes sense. And then Albon obviously is very solid as well. In third, I've got Red Bull. So obviously everyone's going to shout now, why is Red Bull in third? That's just because, yes, Max Verstappen is brilliant. He's the best driver on the grid right now, in my opinion. But, Liam Lawson, he's also kind of new, but we haven't seen him in a top car anyway. So in that sense, he is new. Second, I put in McLaren. Super strong lineup. You'll see later on. I didn't show my bias yet. I'm not wearing my McLaren cap right now, but I am a big McLaren fan. So yeah, I think Piastri and Norris they're just really, really good. They're good teammates. Some argy-bargy, like in Monza, for example, but they came out of it cleanly. They're both fantastic races. So I think that's a very strong lineup. And then obviously now you know that in first I put Ferrari. Leclerc is just brilliant, especially toward the end of last season. There's only like 4 races last year that I can think that he wasn't super on top of his game. And then Lewis Hamilton, whatever you feel about him, he is a 7-time world champion, so you can't put him low down. So yeah, okay, that was just to quickly run through where I rank the drivers, maybe just give you a bit of an idea, or the driver pairings, to give you a good idea as to why I have done the next bit. So now we're going to go into the actual driver predictions and the constructors predictions. I'm going to start with the constructors. So in last place, I put Stake. Stake, I think everyone's going to be putting into last place. It's complicated situations with the Audi takeover with them. A lot of people are questioning how much commitment that they're putting into the team, really. But I just think in general, Stake they took a little bit of a turn up at the end of last year, but they're just not. They're not a top team. There's a lot of operational issues there. They don't have the fastest car. It was overweight for a lot of the season. So it's tough for me to think that they're going to take a big step up. The whole goal is Audi 2026. That's what all of the resources that they have are being put into. So to turn that team around into something more than 10th in 2025 and then still to try and be a top team in 2026, I think it's unlikely. In 9th place, I put in Williams. So Carlos Sainz, I think, is going to do super well. And we don't know what Albon is like against a super competitive teammate. Colapinto gave some flashes. Obviously, at the end, it slowed down a little bit. But yeah, I just think that they're not going to make a massive step up. Their James Vowell's whole goal with them is also 2026. Get that team back to being operationally good. They are one of the most successful teams. I believe that they're the 3rd most successful team in terms of constructors. In history. So there's a lot of pride in that team, and they'll obviously want to get back there. But there's no point doing it the last season of the regulations unless they try and, put a little bit of a sneaky and just get up there a little bit while the other teams are focusing on the new regs. But personally, I think it's a bit unlikely. Then moving over to 8th. So this is kind of where it gets interesting, because I think we often talk about Formula A and Formula B, or the top Formula 1 championship, and then the sort of second tier. And this is where I think it gets interesting. A lot of these teams are going to be super close. It's going to be separated by a couple of points. But somebody's got to lose out. And in 8th, it's Aston Martin. And again, like I said, in the driver pairings, that's Stroll. It's not Fernando. Stroll's going to drop a lot of points, but even the car itself, maybe they're also going for 2026, but it just doesn't seem, they start the seasons off well, but in-season development just never, ever seems to work with them. It's just like they don't know how to do good development within a season. Obviously, if you think about it, Adrian Newey could make an impact, but it's not going to happen immediately. He was still on gardening leave, and there was talks about Red Bull sort of taking most of his tools away. So, yeah, it's tough. It's really tough to think that they would then make a big step up. So, obviously, Aston Martin being in eighth puts, for me, VCarb in seventh. So VCarb, I think, are going to take a step down from last year. So just to go to my little resources here on the side, RB were in eighth. So I suppose technically I pushed them a step up, but I don't think that position is reflective of that. I think that's more just going to be a case of Aston are just going to do so badly. Sonoda, I think, has got something to prove, and it could go either way, but I'm choosing to be positive and thinking that what happened with the Red Bull situation is going to, he's going to put a big middle finger up to the Red Bulls and say, look, this is what you missed out on. You're getting all these points for the junior team, but not for the senior team. And that's where you need it in that tight battle. So seventh place for VCarb. I know now they're not going to be VCarb anymore. They're Racing Bulls, but these teams changed their names so many times. I can't keep track. Okay, then moving over to number 6, Alpine. Alpine, again, that fight between, I think I've let a cat out of a bag a little bit here, but that fight between Aston Martin, Racing Bulls, Alpine, and Haas is going to be so tight. There's a reason that I put Alpine down there, and that's the Doohan question. So I don't think Doohan deserves this, but I can't see him going through a full season. So yeah, it's tough. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But when you have new drivers coming into car, especially rookies, they take time. And even if it's not rookies just going into a new team, it takes time to get used to the car. They have to hit the ground running, but they don't always do. I think Sonoda scored points on debut, but you can't all be that lucky or that good, however you want to see it. And I think just that transition between drivers and stuff is going to just lose enough points for them to allow Haas into P5, which is a brilliant place for Haas. And there's a lot of reasons that you could think that's why Haas are there. They've got 2 fantastic drivers in Ollie Behrman and Esteban Ocon, but they also, even more sort of brilliantly, they've got that new partnership with Toyota. Also, their new race principal is just doing a fantastic job there. So I think they're really proving that you don't need to be a massive organization with 1,000 employees. It just takes, being resourceful and sort of like economic and just having the right drivers and the right kind of attitude. I think both Behrman and Ocon are going to be super appreciated there. And for drivers like that, this may be a little bit emotional. That's a very important factor. So P5, I kind of, maybe it's wishful thinking. I really hope it happens. I've got a very soft spot for Haas. I really like them. Maybe from the Günther Steiner days with the great comments, but yeah, I think that's something that I'm really hoping for. Moving over to P4. So here's where again it gets spicy. That's why I think the season is going to be so great, guys. We've got a strong battle between, but a very close battle between Aston, Racing Bulls, Alpine, and Haas, which in my predictions, I've gone from P8 to P5. Then you've got a really strong fight between definitely the top 3, maybe the top 4 too. So probably no surprises in P4. I've put Mercedes. I just don't think Mercedes I don't think they're consistent enough. I don't think they're going to fix all of their issues. But not just that, Antonelli is a huge question mark. I mean, he's so young. He's 18 years old, getting into a Formula One car. We had the young driver test, which was all right. He had his test in, was it Monza? We had that crash. Maybe it was, Toto tried to kind of say it was a good thing. It showed that he was going all out and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. We could sign to stay hydrated. Go get yourself a water. If you don't have one now, you can always pause the video. But yeah, he could do very, very well. But I think the combination of Mercedes maybe not being up where they should be and Antonelli having all the question marks around him, I just to take that fight to the top three is gonna be rough. Moving over then to the top three, the exciting part. Now, I really wish there was a way that I could just hide where I'm going with this, but there is no ways. So in third place, I have put, drum roll please, I'm not good enough at editing to insert a drum roll, so you can just imagine it, Red Bull. So I think that Red Bull are struggling at the moment. Maybe a combination of losing top figures, or maybe it's a case of some internal fighting that we saw. The two camps after Dietrich Mateschitz died, that just seemed like was uneasy. It's not a comfortable working environment, and those kind of things affect the teams a lot more than you think. These Formula One teams are these huge, huge organizations that have all these different parts that need to work so well together and so closely together for them to be successful. And if parts aren't communicating correctly or not working well together, then you've got a bit of trouble. So Verstappen obviously punches well above his weight, and the 2023 season he basically won the constructors, or he did win the constructors by himself. I don't think it's going to be not that easy this year to take anything away from Max, but I think it's going to be harder this year. So I can't see them having the measure of Ferrari or McLaren, which obviously are the only two teams left. And then moving straight over to Ferrari. Obviously that's kind of spoiled who's in first, but we'll get to it. The only reason that I put Ferrari below McLaren, who I'm obviously now announcing as definitely without a shadow of a doubt, the official 2025 Constructors World Champions, second year in a row, just brilliant. Might as well just call it now. Don't need to do the race at all. The only reason is just Hamilton. Not anything against him, but he's coming into a new car. It's going to take time to adjust. And if Piastri and Norris hit the ground running, just a couple of lost points is probably going to be the nail in the coffin right at the beginning of the season. Look, a lot can happen, but I think every team is just going to have to be perfect right from the beginning to get the measure of the other teams. So McLaren, the only question mark there, I guess, really is Piastri. Norris, his whole attitude changed, and he just really became a champion. He looked like a championship-winning driver at the end of the season after he lost the championship, ironically. Piastri's had issues in his first season with tire management. He came right with that last year. Last year, it was a bit of consistency, especially toward the end of the year. That could very much just be a case of, I don't know, adjusting to the long calendars and all the flying. Obviously, these other drivers have got years of experience in it. But I think every year he's improved, and I think this is going to be another year that he's going to improve. So yeah, that's what we have it. Just quick summary there. So in last, we've got put your name here, Formula One teams, Stake, Sauber, whatever, Kick, I don't know. They're in 10th. Then Williams in 9th. 8th is Aston Martin. VCarb, Alpine in 6th. Haas in 5th. Please, please, please. Mercedes in 4th. Red Bull in 3rd, second Ferrari, and then again, like I say, cut and dry, the Formula One World Champions, McLaren. Definitely a lot of bias there. Okay, I'm just going to lead straight into, because I see the video is getting a little bit long here, but hey, I'll take my opportunity to talk about Formula One. So yeah, let's move into the drivers. This was so interesting for me to think about. And I almost want to make it a 21 driver season, because I think it is going to be, and there is a chance it might actually be more, 22, maybe even 23. But let's just stick to the 20 for now and put a little mark in there. So in last place, I put Jack Doohan. I don't think that's a reflection of his skill. I think he did enough in Abu Dhabi, not obviously anything groundbreaking. It wasn't a podium or anything, but that was a fluke in Brazil, really. Some good driving, but sure. So yeah, but I think he's solid. He is a solid driver. The only problem is that it's been reported that his contract says he's only getting 6 races. One of them already happened in Abu Dhabi, and it is going to take him time to adjust the car. And the only ways that he's going to stay in Alpine for the whole season, in my opinion, is if he beats Gasly. A lot of people are saying that he needs to match him, but I mean, what did they pay for Colapinto? It was like $20 million or something like that. I mean, don't quote me on it, and feel free to say in the comments if I'm wrong. But I mean, they didn't pay a small amount of money for him at all, and they're reporting a 5-year contract. That is massive. For Formula One, that's huge. A 5-year contract just to have someone sit on the bench. And it's not going to be Gasly. Gasly was fantastic toward the end of the year. He really, really showed some strength, and he's the de facto team leader. You know, he's a French guy in the French team, but you know, just he does have that leadership capability. He showed that at the time AlphaTauri, much better name. But yeah, so I don't think Duan's going to get a fair shot at it, and I think the amount of lost points is going to be enough to put him in last. In 19th, it hurts me to say I've put Bortoletto. A combination of him being a rookie and also whatever you want to call the team. I'm going to call them Sauber now. Just being completely off whack. I said don't see better than 19th. I hope I'm wrong. I really like Gabby, and I think he is a future star. But it's also tough to tell just because somebody is a Formula, or I know the back-to-back Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula 2 champions tend to do well, like Piastri and Leclerc, for example, I think was Russell as well. But F2 is in shambles at the moment. It's not a great series. So, yeah, maybe not enough said there. So, yeah, unfortunately, Bortoletto in 19th. 18th, Albon. I don't know. This is more of a vibes thing. I just think that Carlos is going to walk in there, take the team over, and walk all over Albon. And unfortunately, I think that's going to lead to just a bit of a downfall. But I think, like I said, I don't think Williams are going to be up there either. So maybe it's more about Williams than him. But it is vibes. 17, I put the Incredible Hulk. Funny enough, he was like the super sub a couple of years ago when it was a 2020 or 2021. He was the guy that everyone wanted. He did a great job with Haas. Magnussen obviously taught Schumacher a lesson or two, and then Hulkenberg just came in and made it seem like Magnussen was an F2 driver for a little bit. Obviously, they were like now at the end of the season, Magnussen showed flashes, but Hulkenberg did really well. But unfortunately, again, I think at the time we thought it was a sideways step to go from Haas to Stake. I think this is a backward step. Hopefully, for his sake, RD absolutely cook next season, but not this. It's not going to happen this season. So Hulkenberg in P17. P16, we have got Isaac Hadjar. I just don't have great feelings about Hadjar. I'm not saying that he's bad, but he almost won the F2 championship. But like I said, now F2 is in shambles. I think the V carb is going all the way. Like I know they, my predictions, I put them up a place, but I think in terms of performance, they're actually going to go down. Hadjar, I just don't have a great feeling about, and I think that Tsunoda is going to swallow him up a little bit. And I think his aggression that you hear over the radio is not going to fit with Formula One very well. And I think he might find himself in a good couple of incidents, especially since how the balance of the car is. If the car is not well balanced, I can definitely see him having a good couple of crashes, specifically at the beginning of the season, which is going to set them a foot back. These teams, with the closeness that we have at the front, they need to take every opportunity they can get. And if you're crashing, you're not taking any opportunities. So, yeah, Isaac Hadjar, P16. Then 15, smooth operator. We've got Carlos Sainz. I want to put him higher, but I just think the Williams is going to be a brick on wheels. Carlos Sainz, I think, is going to show true leadership, and I think it's going to be fun watching him race there because he's going to punch well above his race. You're going to get those sort of unpredictable races where he might do really well. And who knows, maybe a Carlos Sainz podium if we get some rain like Belgium, where Russell got the podium by technicality. But yeah, something like that with Sainz could be definitely. P14, it hurts me to say I put Lance Stroll above him. Sure, I don't know. I might actually want to swap those two, but I put Aston Martin above Williams in my constructors prediction, so it just made a bit of sense for me to say that I think every now and again Stroll is going to have a good race by his standards. But I also think that car is maybe not going to be a tractor every now and again. And I think when these teams aren't able to get into the points because the top teams are so close, I mean, we're talking at least like 8 positions. There's 4 teams almost guaranteed every week. It's so hard to get points. So it definitely doesn't mean Stroll's a better driver than Sainz, because he's not. That's not even a question. It's just, yeah, it can be luck. I mean, there's a good couple of cases like last year. Guanyu Zhou beat Valtteri Bottas. Okay, obviously, they're teammates, but Zhou wasn't the better driver over the season. It's just like only the top 10 get points. So if you find yourself in 10th and you get a point and no one else is, in the bottom 10, just for argument's sake, has gotten points throughout the whole season, then that's enough to shoot you all the way up. So yeah, it can really come down to things like that. So unfortunately, that puts Stroll in P14. Yeah, I'm really showing some bias here. Maybe not a good way to start. Then in P13, I put the Bear, Ollie Bearman. I think he's going to do fantastic. I don't think he's going to have the measure of Hulkenberg in the first season, but I think he's going to learn a lot from him and it's going to get close. So yeah, Bearman, I'm very excited to see him. P13. P12, Yuki Tsunoda, comfortably ahead of Isaac Hadjar. I just think that the Racing Bulls is not going to be great. Can we just agree just to call them Toro Rosso, please? I don't think they're going to do that great. So unfortunately, Tsunoda. Look, actually, now that I think about it, Tsunoda P12 is not that bad. Where did he finish last season? Tsunoda finished P12 last season, so consistency, that's brilliant. And then P11, I got Fernando Alonso, quite good for him. That's obviously it's a drop down. He was P9 last year, but I think that Aston Martin are going to take the tank a little bit. So unfortunately, that is what it is. P10. Now we've made it to the top 10. Starts to get exciting. I have Esteban Ocon, so 10 places above his teammate, and I think it's just going to show the consistency of Haas. I think they're really going to be much more up there than they used to be, and also I think he's going to do a lot better in a place where he's valued. The relationship at Alpine between him and Alpine broke down so much that you could really see that his performances were being affected by it. And he's a solid midfield driver. We saw that in all of the teams that he's with. He has bad moments, specifically with his teammate, but I think he's good enough to be there compared to the people we had before. And then P9, beating Ocon again, we have Pierre Gasly. The Alpine, so yeah, it's very high to put Alpine, and I might... Oh, sorry, I just realized that I put Ocon above 10 places above his teammates. I'm so used to him being Alpine. Obviously, he's going to be in the Haas, so not 10 places above his teammates, only 3 places above. So Gasly is 11 places above his teammate. Yeah, I think the Alpine's going to have some good moments. I think Gasly is just going to outperform the car. Maybe that was a bold prediction and maybe not a very good one to say that an Alpine is going to have a driver all the way in 9th, but I just have a feeling about Gasly this season. And then also a big reason to come back to the constructors, one of the reasons that I put Alpine so low was because of the teammate situation. So with chopping and changing the teammates, having Doohan in 20th is not a great reflection of where Alpine are going to be. So we don't know, but I think somewhere between Gasly and where Doohan should be, or where Colapinto is going to be, is a good sign of where Alpine should be. So yeah, I just think Gasly is going to have the minerals and the confidence next year. Properly team leader, doesn't need to fight against his old friend and foe. That confidence is going to take him far. And Alpine, they took a step up at the end of the year. So yeah, I think that's the one that I was the most unsure about, but I'm I'm confident enough that Gasly can do well enough to be there. We'll see how wrong this is at the end of the year. Then moving on to eighth is Andrea Kimi Antonelli. I just think he's too new to predict anything else. So, yeah, P7, I've got Liam Lawson. I think he's going to struggle a bit more than maybe people think. I think the Red Bull is going to struggle a little bit more than people think. So, best for P7 is what I'd have to say. P6, George Russell. Just think the Mercedes is not going to be there all the way, and we've got a whole other top four to fit in. So, yeah. Then Lewis Hamilton, P5. I know a lot of people are going to be mad about this. I don't think you can just walk into Ferrari after being in Mercedes for as long as he has and immediately win the championship or anything like that. And I think that the top five are going to be super, super close. So me putting him in top five doesn't mean, oh, Hamilton's now washed. It's just going to be a close battle. He's going to take a couple of races to get used to the car, and that's going to put him on the back foot against the guys who don't. So, yeah, P4, Oscar Piastri. He's got a little bit more to do this year in terms of consistency. I just don't think he has the edge of the others yet. Maybe next season, but yeah, not yet. Top three time. In third, this I changed actually now that I look at it. In third, I have Max Verstappen. So I did originally put him in second, and the more I thought about it, I just think that Norris and Leclerc are just going to have a little bit more than him in terms of the car. Maybe confidence, because it's going to be then another season of the car not being where he wants it to. Frustration might start to get to him. So, yeah, Verstappen, P3 again. He's one of the best drivers of the grid. It's more of a Red Bull thing than anything else. Then, now when I say P2, it's going to give away the winner of the Drivers' Championship. So, insert another drum roll, which I don't know how to do. In P2, we have Lando Norris. So, yeah, the 2025 Drivers' World Champion, according to me, is Charles Leclerc. I think the Ferrari is going to come out the blocks firing, and I think Leclerc just has a little bit more than Lando. But my crazy prediction for the year is that it is going to go down to Abu Dhabi, and I think it might go down to 3 drivers. That might include Verstappen as well. So definitely not just cut and dry. I just think Leclerc has got it this year. I think the confidence is high. He's going to learn some stuff from Hamilton. They are both very clean racers, so I don't think they're going to be punching into each other, whereas maybe every now and again Verstappen and Lawson might bump into each other, and I think Norris is more prone to being bullied by Max, so I think he's more likely to drop points. So I think, yeah, Leclerc I'm putting down. Obviously, personally, I'll let it slip now. I want Piastri to be the world champion, but I think realistically it's Leclerc for number one. First world championship, first championship to Ferrari, drivers' championship obviously in a while. The last drivers' championship for them was Kimi Raikkonen, all those years ago. So I think that could be really cool for the Scuderia. So interesting, because it will now be the second year in a row that we have a different constructors championship to drivers. So this year I was predicting McLaren constructors and then Leclerc drivers. So yeah, tasty season we have ahead. I think we've got a lot of cool videos to go. This obviously was the first one, so nothing too exciting, but just a nice little chat, get to know each other. So if you guys have any recommendations for videos, any constructive criticisms, or you just want like a little chat, then feel free to leave a comment. Please like and subscribe and share the video. This is a channel we want to grow. Let's get South Africa represented more in Formula One. And let's just have a bit of fun together. So thanks all for stopping by. There's more to come, hopefully more now soon, and hopefully now I can actually do the live stream now that I know how it works. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have an awesome night. And yeah, from Pit Stop, this has been a video, and there's many more to come. Cheers.